Okay, we are live on YouTube. You can go ahead.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kim Brisky, and I am the Director of Communications and Engagement at Summer Corps. I'm going to be moderating the webinar today. I just thank you, everybody, for attending. And just a few reminders again, everybody attending today will be receiving a follow-up email with a copy of the presentation as well as a video of this recording. If you have any questions throughout this presentation, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. We will be answering some questions by using that directly. We will also answer some verbally at the end, and that way we can make sure we get everybody's questions answered. And now to kick it off, I'd like to turn it over to the Deputy Commissioner of DPD, Mary O'Connor.
Thank you, Kimberly, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mary O'Connor, and I serve as Deputy Commissioner here in the city's Department of Planning and Development, overseeing the Small Business Advocacy Division under the leadership of Chip Hastings, the Managing Deputy Commissioner, and Commissioner Maurice Cox. I want to thank all of you for the great work that small business owners do day in and day out. It's the small businesses that make Chicago second to none, and we are grateful for the time and investment that you have put not only into your business, but the communities you serve. And we realize more than ever what a risk and a challenge it is to be a small business owner. Whether it's your first year or your 30th year, owning a small business presents new challenges that you all have to tackle. And especially as we struggle to adapt to today's challenging economic climate and the challenges brought on due to COVID-19. I hope many of you were able to take advantage of the many great resources that were introduced by Mayor Lightfoot, such as the Resiliency Fund, the Micro Business Recovery Grant Program, and most recent, the Together Now Fund. It is in that same spirit that we are opening our Small Business Improvement Fund for application. In SBIF's 20-year history, the program has awarded over $100 million to over 1,600 small businesses and property owners. Today, I'm joined by our colleagues from Summer Corps, the program administrator. Sylvia Roscoe, the program director, will be leading today's information session and will introduce you to her whole team. If some of you have already had the pleasure of working with Summer Corps, you know firsthand how valuable they are to what we do and the impact they have on assisting our city's small business community. Another essential part of making this program a success is our relationship with our community partners, many who are on today's call. I encourage all of you to utilize your local community stakeholder groups and delegate agencies that represent your local business communities. Our office works closely with many of these groups, and we are nothing less than impressed for how they continue to step up and advocate for their business communities. I encourage you to get to know their staffs, join their email list for updates and resources, and attend any webinars or networking events that they planned. And if you need assistance in getting in touch with your local groups, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team and we'll be happy to make an introduction. And always, please feel free to continue to use our office as a resource as well. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Sylvia, and thank you all for joining us here today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As Mary mentioned, my name is Sylvia Roscoe. I am the Program Director for the Small Business Improvement Fund program. I'm proud to say that I've worked for Summer Corps on the SBIF program for the past 15 years. I've assisted hundreds of existing businesses, landlords, and startups. Summer Corps is a not-for-profit small business lender that offers SBA 504 loans. We administer the City of Chicago Small Business Improvement Fund program, as well as the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund program. So our purpose is to guide your vision to reality through impactful financial solutions. And that's because business growth, job creation, and community impact are our priorities. So now in its 20th year, again, SBIF is one of the longest running and most successful City of Chicago programs, helping to retain and expand small businesses in nearly every neighborhood and dispersing over $100 million in grants. So the Small Business Improvement Fund program provides a grant in the form of reimbursement. It is for permanent infrastructure repairs only. So please be advised that this is a non-residential program. The grants cannot be used for residential units, cannot be used for capital or operating expenses. It is specifically for infrastructure repairs throughout select TIF districts throughout the city of Chicago. So now we'll go ahead and get started with today's presentation. So today's presentation will focus on what is TIF, what is SBIF, who is eligible, what are the eligible expenses, what's the application process, what are the requirements and restrictions, and what's the payment process. So what is TIF? Tax increment financing is a special funding tool that's used by the city of Chicago to promote public and private investment across the city. The funds are used to build and repair roads and infrastructure, clean polluted land, and put vacant properties back to productive use, usually in conjunction with private development projects such as the SBIF. The funds are generated by growth in the equalized assessed valuation of properties within a designated TIF district over a period of 23 years. So what does it do? The funding levels for specific projects are coordinated with area plans and goals. So when an area is declared a TIF district, the amount of property tax the area generates is set as a base equalized valuation amount. So as property values increase, all tax growth above that amount can be used to fund redevelopment projects within that district. So here we have a map of the SBIF districts that are open in September. So we are opening the Galewood and Armitage, Lawrence and Pulaski, Greater Southwest Industrial West, Belmont Cicero, Lawrence and Broadway, and Humboldt Park. Now, though these are noted on the map, I know they're super tiny. If you need assistance, we're going to go through step by step on how you can determine whether or not your property falls within an eligible district. So to find out whether or not your property falls within an eligible district, you can visit our website at www.summercorps.com/SBIF. So when you get to this page, you can click on the link, Am I in a SBIF district? That will take you to the City of Chicago's Department of Zoning's website. You can enter your address in the space that is required here. Once you actually enter the address there, you have to make sure that you click on the address pin in order for the accurate information to pop up specifically for that address. So once you actually click on the pin, it'll give you the detailed information, tax increment financing, and the name of the TIF that you're located in below. So if you do not see that information here, if there is no tax increment financing on that section, that means your property is not within a TIF district. So for the SBIF organization here, this is a City of Chicago grant program. All SBIF eligible districts and funding must be authorized by City Council. DPD oversees the program of which SummerCorps administers. And SummerCorps works directly with local agencies and the applicants in processing the applications. So these are just a few of our local delegate agencies that assist with administering the program as far as working directly with the applicant. So if you're familiar with these, please reach out to them for assistance. If you're not, please feel free to determine whether or not this specific local agency operates within your area. You can always give us a call and we'll let you know. SBIF overview. So again, as I mentioned, the grants are for permanent building improvements for small businesses in specific TIF districts throughout the city of Chicago. So you can receive a rebate of 25, 50, or 75% of eligible cost. $100,000 is the max for each commercial applicant or landlord or a single commercial space. $150,000 is the max for each industrial applicant, and $50,000 is the max per applicant in a multi-tenant property with a limit of $250,000 per property. So the following consists of the eligible applicants and the items that we take into consideration to determine the eligibility. So if you're a property owner, we take a look at your personal net worth, cumulative between all owners, and liquid assets as well. For commercial lessees, we'll take into account the annual sales, gross receipts for the past 3 years for your business. For industrial lessees, the maximum full-time equivalent employees allowed is 100 employees, including all employees if you have multiple locations. For business and property owner, we take into account both the property owner and commercial lessees requirements that will be applicable in this case. If you are a landlord of a vacant property, you can apply right now, but you do have to have a minimum of a 60% lease up and 100% of the ground floor leased out by SBIF qualified tenants. And we'll talk in detail a little bit more as we go through the presentation about who qualifies and who doesn't. The sliding scale eligibility for a landlord. So if you are a landlord, you must not have any ownership interest in the business leasing the commercial space, and all individuals with 7.5% ownership or more are evaluated for eligibility. The net worth, again, cumulative between all owners. If it's less than $2.5 million, you'd qualify for 75% reimbursement. If the net worth is between 2.5 and 4.5 million, you would qualify for 50% reimbursement. If the net worth falls between $4.5 and $6 million, you would qualify for 25% reimbursement, and a net worth that is greater than or equal to 6 million would be considered ineligible. Additional eligibility considerations, again, cumulative liquid assets must be under $500,000. The lease up requirements, again, must be met by the landlords. And this is applicable to industrial property owners that lease any part of a property to a third-party tenant. Sliding scale eligibility for a tenant, that means you're leasing for a minimum of 3 years from a building owner of no financial relationship, and there's no overlap with the property ownership. So we take into account the sales requirements. So we request past 3 years tax returns, and if your sales are less than $3 million, you'd qualify for 75% reimbursements. If sales range from 3 to 4 million, you'd qualify for 50% reimbursements. And sales between 4 to 5 million, you would qualify for 25% reimbursement. So anything greater than 5 million, you'd be considered ineligible. So we do accept startups. So if your business is new, we request that in lieu of the tax returns that you submit your projected income statement, and that'll be used to apply the sales schedule. So we also require a business plan as well. Eligibility for industrial applicants. If you have less than 100 full-time equivalent employees, you'd be eligible for the program and automatically qualify for a 50% rebate. If you're an industrial landlord, if an applicant owns an industrial property and also lease any portion of the industrial property to a third-party tenant, this would be considered an income generator. So we'd also take into account the landlord sliding scale in this situation. SBIF reimbursable expenses. So some of the items that we can reimburse for include roofing, storefront and facade improvements, masonry repairs, tuck pointing, building systems, including HVAC, electrical and plumbing, interior renovations, rough and finish carpentry, full gut rehab interior work, ADA compliance improvements. Now, if you need to widen your doors to make it ADA accessible, if you need to renovate your restrooms to make them ADA accessible, or making a new ramp ADA accessible to the entry or the exit of your space, that type of work we can cover with this program, as well as environmental remediation, permanent signage. With these structural components only, that would be eligible for reimbursements. So for example, if you have a box sign, we can cover the box sign, the installation, and the electrical work that goes towards it, but the business specific panel, that would have to be excluded. So basically, if you could have another tenant in 10 years come in and reuse it, great. So any business specific elements would be excluded. So you can also use it for land purchase. This is for business expansion or parking. So you must already own the directly adjacent real estate and operate a business out of it. So if you currently own your property, operate a business, you're looking to expand, whether you're looking to build or use it as a parking lot, we can reimburse you for those costs. Ineligible businesses and organization types include national chains, food, bank branches, McDonald's, currency exchange, payday loan stores, places of worship, liquor stores, bars, startup banquet halls, astrology, palm readers, hotels and motels, home-based businesses, trailer storage, junkyards, or similar uses. These are the types of businesses that do not qualify for the program. Non-reimbursable expenses. So the items that we cannot cover include new construction, whether it's an addition or expansion from the ground up or outside of the existing perimeter is not eligible. If there's any serious or chronic building code violations, there's any circuit courts lease pendants notice or injunctions filed on the property, unfortunately, we cannot assist you at this time. Those will need to be addressed before we can accept an application for that property. Any cosmetic upgrades, minor repairs, or standalone projects, if you simply just want to give it a fresh look, new paint, new carpet, small interior office remodels, small projects like that don't qualify. If there's any equipment-related expenses, personal property, and permanent elements such as computers, phones, kitchen appliances, cash registers, furniture, those types of items that can be easily taken out of the property would not be eligible. Parking lot improvements in landscaping, business-specific signage, as I mentioned previously, is not eligible. Perimeter security fencing, and work on residential units. These are all items that are not SBIF eligible. SBIF grant sample project here. So let's say that you qualify for 75% reimbursement and your project costs $50,000. So we understand that small business owners don't always have the cash readily available, so projects can be completed in up to 3 phases. So if the masonry work is complete, at $30,000, you can submit the payment documentation for a phase 1 reimbursement. So once you receive that reimbursement, you can then use that towards the roofing replacement. So that roofing replacement would be considered your second phase. So if you have multiple projects, you can break it out into up to 3 phases. So with the $50,000 project, with the 75% reimbursement qualification, you would then receive a total grant rebate of $37,500. So again, I do want to mention that the SBIF funds can be assigned to a lender. We can write a bank assignment to leverage the cost of construction financing. So this is a recent project that we did in the Galewood and Armitage TIF district. This is Upton's Naturals Company. They are a manufacturer and distributor of vegetarian and vegan food items. They converted their warehouse they actually constructed a new cooler section here with new epoxy flooring, new walls, HVAC, lighting, and electrical system, amongst other projects. This project here, Mosaico Inc. This one is located in the Lawrence and Pulaski TIF district. This one is a retail sales of mosaic tile and stone material. They completely redid their facade, new roofing system, new HVAC, amongst other projects on the interior as well. Here we have Naveen's Cuisine. This one is in the Humboldt Park TIF district. This one is a catering company. They provide cooking classes and private events. This one is actually a expansion and relocation. And Kids Future Daycare Center. This one is in the Lawrence and Broadway TIF district. This is a startup daycare center. It was a vacant space converted into a new daycare. SBIF exterior work requirements. So for commercial grantees that are looking to receive over $25,000 in SBIF funding, at least 10% of grant funding must be put towards an exterior improvement. So that can go towards masonry repairs, storefront improvements, new signage, whatever helps beautify the property. That would suffice as meeting the exterior work requirements. So it's possible that you can receive a waiver if the exterior work was recently updated and or no exterior work is needed. And if the interior work that you're looking to do is substantial, you're doing a full gut rehab, building systems, concrete, structural work. If it's efficient, then we may go ahead and issue that waiver. Going green with SBIF. So there's many ways that you can save money with energy efficiency. Insulation and high efficiency furnaces and water heaters dramatically cut down energy cost. You should always look for Energy Star ratings. These are required for industrial businesses. Again, high efficiency lighting will cut down on electrical bills. ComEd and People's Gas have energy saving programs. So if you're looking to do some work, check in with them to see exactly what you need beforehand so that you can be ready to get both the SBIF grants and get any rebates that ComEd and People's Gas offer. We do ask that you are in compliance throughout the entire process. So we do have the facade design guidelines in which we will provide for you. You must have a valid City of Chicago business license. You must not have any debt to the city. We do scofflaw investigations. So if anything pops up that needs to be addressed, we'll give you a chance to go ahead and pay that off before we can proceed with the next steps. The economic disclosure statement as part of the application must be completed. Property taxes must be current. Since this program is funded through property taxes, we do verify that your property taxes are up to date. We do have to complete a grant recipient affidavit once you receive your reimbursement, stating that you will not relocate outside of the TIF district or you will not sell your property within 3-year time frame of receiving the grant. So we do ask for proof of land ownership or a minimum of a 3-year term lease. And that's basically to protect the tenant, to make sure that they are getting good use of the investment that they're doing with someone else's property. So other direct financial assistance will be deducted from the grant amount, excluding TIF works. So for example, if you received $20,000 from another City of Chicago grant program, and if you are qualifying for $100,000, that will leave you eligible for only $80,000 for the SBIF program. So we ask that if you are a startup, you give us a plan that you're looking to do. We ask that you follow through. That is a requirement. So if you have a plan to open up a deli, we don't want to go visit your place in 6 months and find out that it's a nightclub. So we just want you to be in compliance with that. So there are other SBIF criteria. The contractors that you use must be licensed by the City of Chicago and insured. They do not have to be located within the City of Chicago, but they do have to have a license to do business in the city. There's also a minority and women-owned business contractor list that will be provided, and also SummerCore is always available for technical assistance. Payment process. So once the project is complete, these are the items that are required in order for us to submit a reimbursement to the City of Chicago. So we ask you for copies of your invoices, copies of your canceled checks, and final waivers of lien. We also conduct site visits before and after the construction is completed. So we do require building permits if they are necessary, depending on the type of work that you're looking to do. So, and also, again, another thing, if you owe any debt to the city, it would have to be addressed before we can move forward. So once all of that is taken care of, everything is ready to go over for processing. It takes about 3 to 5 weeks for the grants reimbursement to be available to you. So the application period and or lottery, we are currently accepting the applications now through September 30th at 5 p.m. So please make sure if you're looking to apply, verify whether or not your property is located within a TIF district that is currently open at the moment. So if we have to have a lottery, the lottery only takes place if there's more funding requested than what we have available. So we'll do a lottery, assign everyone a ID number, and we'll pull it out of a fishbowl, literally pull it out of a fishbowl. So, we start to process the applications in the order that they're selected until we don't have any funding. So there's a chance that someone may be partially funded, or there's a chance that someone may be placed on the wait list. So if someone's placed on the wait list, that wait list is active for 2 years. So if within those 2 years, someone who was selected ahead of them either doesn't qualify, doesn't move forward for some reason, the money goes to the next person on the list. And if the city happens to replenish that district, the people who are on the wait list receive the funding before we open it up to the public for new applications. So within our first stage, we will contact the applicants, let them know that we're sending out documentation. So they have to furnish their additional documents to complete the initial application within 20 days. So if they successfully complete that application and they're eligible, we move forward to the second stage. So within 120 days, they would have to submit their architectural drawings if they're required, their bids, license, and insurance. So construction planning and cost estimate submittal for the second stage would give you 120 days to submit those items. So please note that stage 1 and 2 must be complete before the approval of the grants can be fully considered. So the application review process is when the conditional commitment letter is issued, if it's approved. So then you would enter the third stage. Within the third stage, you'd have 120 days to submit your proof of financing to make sure that you have the financing available to move forward. So this can be in the form of a bank statement showing your available funds, or a commitment letter from a bank stating that you've been approved for a loan. And we give you a full 300 days to complete the construction. So again, the September open districts include the Belmont Cicero, Galewood Armitage, Greater Southwest Industrial West, Humboldt Park, Lawrence Pulaski, and Lawrence and Broadway. So please be sure to submit your application before the deadline of September 30th at 5 p.m. After that deadline, we will not take any applications into consideration. So the applications, again, must be submitted by September 30th at 5 p.m. They can be submitted via email at sbif@summercorps.com, or they can be faxed to 312-757-4371, or they can be sent via mail to our mailing address at 601 South LaSalle Street, Suite 510, Chicago, Illinois, 60605. Here's the contact information for the individuals that work on the SBIF program. Silvia Orozco, myself, I do speak Spanish, so I'm available if it's necessary. Savannah Allen, Anastasia Williams, Nora Curry with DPD, and Kim Brisky. So again, thank you very much for joining us. A copy of the presentation and the link to the video will be emailed to all attendees. So now we can go ahead and get started with any questions.
That's great. Thank you so much again, Sylvia. And as a reminder to everybody, if you have a question, please just use the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. As Sylvia said, all of the attendees today will be receiving an email with a copy of the presentation and a video recording. Additionally, I just want to make sure I one more time mention www.summercorps.com/SBIF. This is where you're going to find things like how to confirm whether or not you're in a SBIF district. This is where you will find the application. This is where you will find lottery results. This is your one-stop shop. So be sure if you have any questions today that we don't answer, feel free to visit the website as well as use the contact information. In terms of questions to get started, Sylvia, in addition to the application, what sort of documents should folks be ready to have on hand to submit?
Okay, so we do require proof of site control. So we would actually require a copy of a deed or title insurance to prove ownership, or a copy of your lease to prove that you have control over the space.
Great. And I think You know, in terms of the actual projects themselves, can you talk about what stage of the project has to be in? Like, can you request a grant for something that's completed, that's something that's already started, or does it have to be a completely new project?
It does have to be a completely new project. Unfortunately, we cannot retroactively pay for any items that have already been completed. So you do have to go through the process, get your official approval, and once you get that approval letter from the city, you can begin the construction. So anything that's completed before the date on your approval letter or paid for before that date, it will not be taken into consideration for reimbursement.
Great. Another question would be in terms, again, on financing questions, what type of financing should you have in place or be prepared to spend at the start of the project?
I mean, look at the big picture. This is a grant in the form of reimbursement. So you do have to have 100% of the funds available to you. Not at the time that you apply for the actual grant, but keep in mind that it is, reimbursement. So if you don't have the money available, most lenders require that you have at least a minimum of 25% available to you in order to finance the project. Or, if you do have the money available to you, you can use your own funds. But keep in mind that, it does have to be paid up front 100% in order for us to reimburse you. You do have that option of breaking it out in phases. So let's say you have a $100,000 project, you only have 50 grand. You can go ahead and, break it out into various phases as long as, it's within the compliance timeframe that we allow.
Okay. Another question somewhat related to finance. We had Mary speak at the beginning about a lot of the resources that the city of Chicago. We also know the state of Illinois has provided grants related to COVID. In addition, there's also the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund grant. How do those go into play in terms of the SBIF? Are you allowed to apply for other ones? How does that work?
So you are allowed to apply for other ones. Again, as I mentioned, if it is a city of Chicago funding source, then it will be extracted or deducted from what you're eligible for with SBIF. So if you apply for the NOF and both SBIF, we cannot reimburse you for the same items. So you have to determine what you'd want eligible or reimbursed for each item or each program in this case, and then we could move forward that way.
Okay, I have a few more specific questions that I'm going to start. One question we have is there a difference between the Ogden and Pulaski district and the Pulaski TIF district? Are they the same?
No, they are not the same. Each TIF district has their own designated areas. So if you're not sure whether or not you fall within that area, you can always give us a call or check our website, but they are two different TIF districts.
Another specific question is, what if the business is a startup at a current vacant property and they're looking to purchase the site for ownership and start a new business there? Is that something that they can receive SBIF funding for?
They can receive SBIF funding for the permanent renovations. We would not be able to assist with the purchase of the property itself, but 504 SBIF loan, the 504 SBA loan may be able to assist with the purchase of the property itself. But if they are looking to purchase the property, they have not closed yet, they can still apply and we'll try to work within their time frame as far as closing. But yes, they can definitely apply.
Excellent. And just as to clarification there, so Summer Corps, in addition to serving the city of Chicago with the SBIF and NOF grants, we are primarily an SBA certified development company. And so we actually originate, administer, and service SBA 504 loans. Those are for the purchase and refinance as well as renovation of fixed assets. So that includes commercial real estate and heavy equipment. So if you have questions about that on the side, feel free to reach out to us. Another specific question was they were concerned about the 3-year lease requirement. They specifically had a new business with a business plan. However, maybe their lease is not currently at 3 years. How do you address that issue to still be eligible to apply?
Okay, in that situation, they would have to execute a lease extension in order to qualify for the program.
Okay, great. Now, another question, they specifically wanted to know when a specific district is open, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit to find out, how it is decided which districts are open and when, and where they can go and find out that information.
Okay, so they can go ahead and find that information on our website. We also have the monthly e-newsletter that goes out with a list of districts that are open for the current month, as well as notification for the following month. So that's, we determine the districts that will be open by demand and interested parties and availability of funds. So if they all, if all the districts there have money available, demand and interest, we usually try to rotate the districts that are open.
Okay, let's see. One question that somebody had was, is there assistance in locating vacant properties? Is that something that the SBIF program assists with?
We do not assist with that. No.
All right. And apologies on my part. I did want to remind everybody, if you are interested in getting the monthly update email, it's called the SBIFgram. You just go to summercore.com/SBIF to sign up. Additionally, if you leave a comment here in the Q&A, we can make sure to add your email to the list. So I guess there was a question about, let's say you have a business in a current location and you're actually just trying to move it to a new location. Can SBIF funding be used actually for the relocation costs, or is it only for the permanent development of the new space?
Only for the permanent development of the new space. So any costs that are incurred with the relocation will not be covered through SBIF.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about some of the current projects that you talked about today, and some of the things that the funding can be used for in terms of building improvements, just to get everybody's minds thinking about what they could potentially use it for? Sure.
So permanent infrastructure, if you need new windows, new doors, new flooring, if your HVAC is, out to date on its last days, HVAC can be covered, electrical upgrades, electrical new systems, plumbing renovations, bathroom renovations, if you need an entirely new layout, roofing, masonry work. Those are the types of items that we cover with the program. So basically any permanent improvements. If you're not sure, please give us a call or send us an email and we'll be sure to answer your questions for you.
Great. Another question regarding the 3-year term. This is sort of, as opposed to being from the small business owner side of things, but from the landowner. Let's say that you own a building and the small business owner, and you are deciding that they want to be able to use the SBIF funds. So this means then that the person who actually owns the building then does have to agree to at least letting the business stay there for 3 years going forward. Is that correct?
Can you go back to the start of the question, please?
Sure. So the question was, as opposed to being the small business owner as the renter, if you are entering into an agreement as the landowner, if you're going to use SBIF funds there, does that mean that you have to allow the small business then to remain in that space for 3 years to be able to access the SBIF funds?
For the landlord requirements, as long as it is leased for a minimum of at least a year, but we do not require the 3-year term if a landlord is leasing to a tenant.
Okay, I appreciate that. So I did just want to once again let everybody know that there is an opportunity now. If you have any questions, to please submit them in the Q&A box. And and again, I want to direct everybody to summercore.com/SBIF. This is where you will find the application, as well as project highlights, suggestions for where you can get financing. These are really the key questions that all will be located there. I was going to say, Savannah or Mary or Sylvia, do you have anything else to add? We have no more questions in the queue.
No, thank you very much for taking the time to take a look at what SBIF is all about. We look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Hi, this is Mary. Thank you again for joining us today. We hope you found this webinar information informative, and we look forward to working with you on your project.
I was going to say either Sylvia or Fareed, you are.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said either you or Fareed, because you are the hosts, are eligible to end the meeting for everybody. Otherwise, we can all just leave.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks,
All
guys.
right.